Thank you, Chad, for allowing us to speak here today. So my name's Jake Simmons. This is my wife, Victoria. And today we'd like to, like you said, talk to y'all about our journey and our testimony that we're going through adoption. James 1:27 is what we're trying to live by. And other than distress, the word is that I looked is the affliction of the orphans and the widows. And try not to let the world spoil you. And so we're going to take that one step further with, we'll take a child and do the same for them, teach them how not to be spoiled by the world and how to turn away from the spoils of this world. We got married in April of 2008, and soon after that, we decided to grow our family, and then soon after that, we found out we were suffering from infertility. And after many trips to specialists in Shreveport, many surgeries, we went to Greece for IVF, and unfortunately our first miscarriage during that time. And it was dark. It was probably the darkest time in our life, both of our lives. And during that time, we were lost. We didn't know what God wanted us to do. We were so used to just brute force. We thought what God wanted us to do, so we just closed our eyes and tried to beat through a wall. And Victoria brought up we needed to get closer to God, and how can we do that? So she brought up the Daniel fast. And so we spent 21 days of fasting, deep in prayer and praise. And during that time, God revealed to us adoption. And as soon as that was revealed to us, the burden of the infertility, the burden of our life at that time was lifted, and we were able to live again a happy life. And to us, that was a good showing of God's true power of granting patience and peace. And that's what he was telling us, was be patient. Through this whole story that we're about to tell, this testimony, God's message is wait, patience. What I have for you is so much better than what you're trying to get. And so Victoria, during this time, we found out she was pregnant. And we went from the darkest time of our life to the happiest time of our life, and within the span of just a few months. And but the adoption had been burned on our hearts, and we knew adoption was in our future. Regardless of what happened, we were going to adopt. We did have some burdens in the way. I had just taken a new job, which took me all over the country. I was away from home for extended periods of time. We had a farm at the time that we were trying to sell, and I was gone working, and I had a 7-month pregnant wife trying to run a farm, and so that was a big burden on our life. Ezra was born, and again, ecstatic, countless prayers answered, and it was all through the grace of God. If you met Ezra, he is a blessing to everyone he meets. At this time, I started doing job interviews again, but now we stopped, gave it to God. God, I'm not doing it. I can't do it. Take it. And I got to tell y'all, I love this city. I had never heard of Lake Jackson. I had no idea where Lake Jackson was. And I took an interview with Dow, and they said, we like what you got, come on. And so I came to work here. Then he sent a buyer for our farm, so I was able to bring Victoria. And 2 years ago, we were able to start our building a life here in Lake Jackson. And we had a checklist that we will start adopting when this, and this happens. And but at first, we fortunately suffered another miscarriage. And God brought us through that storm. And it was so much better following God than trying to pull him along. And so after a time of healing, God revealed to us a home. He gave us an opportunity to buy a home that was in our means, and we took it. And so all of a sudden, we went from all these troubles that we were trying to do ourselves, put our faith in God, and now he's opening doors that we never knew were even there. And all of a sudden, all these boxes started getting ticked off, and we were able to start the process.
Okay, so I'm going to tell y'all where we're at now, and kind of how we got there. We bought the house, and right after we moved in, we started looking at adoption agencies and trying to figure out how God wanted us to make this happen. At first we're going to do foster to adopt when we found out that I was pregnant. We no longer felt like foster to adopt was right for our family and what we needed to do. So we just started praying, God, show us how you want this adoption to happen. We prayed together. We prayed with our life group and had them praying for us in this decision. And we prayed separately. And then we came together one day and we're like, what are you feeling? What am I feeling? And we both had felt that God had put Lifeline as our agency on our hearts, and had a strong leading for China. Like, we both just felt led to China. And then it was kind of cool. God confirmed China in a few different ways. The Valleys came here, and of course they're from China. They've lived in China for a long time, and they're back there now. And me and Michelle quickly became good friends, and we just had a strong connection with them and could hear all about China and know that once our child is here, we still have a connection that they can help our child learn their history and just to know about their heritage from China. Also, I teach a class with international friends, and Isaac, who I think is here today, he came into my class and became one of my students. His testimony of China helped me to know that China was the right decision for our family. And then it was kind of cool, the house that we had just bought was right across the street from the Flournoys that had just adopted a little girl from China just a couple of years ago. So we kind of knew we wanted to go to China. We were still terrified. And then the Fergusons, Matt and Courtney, had just became our Sunday school teachers, and we knew that they had adopted internationally, and they have a beautiful family. And so we talked to them. They invited us over for dinner one night, and we got to talk all about international adoption, and that just really gave us the encouragement that we needed, that we could actually do this. We were still terrified of the price tag. To adopt from China is about $32,000. We had no idea how we were going to come up with this money. We had just used all of our savings for a down payment for our house. But we just took a leap of faith, and we're like, if God really wants us to do this, then he'll provide the funds. On December the 27th, which is actually my birthday, we submitted our preliminary application to Lifeline, and a few days later we were approved, and things started happening really fast. A social worker called us within like a week and was like, okay, your first agency payment and all of your home study fees are due. And we looked at each other, we didn't know how we were going to pay for this still. And God just immediately started providing funds in ways that we weren't even expecting. And to talk about the adoption process, it's not easy. It's a lot of hard work, tons and tons of paperwork, and just very invasive with your home study, and they want to know every single detail about your life. But it's just been so worth it. And now we're kind of past all of that point, and we're just waiting on paperwork to be done. Right now, we're waiting on some papers to be authenticated. That should happen in the next couple of days. Then all of our paperwork will go to China and be logged in, and then we're just waiting to be matched. So right now, we're just praying that we will be matched soon with a child, and we know God knows who that is, and we're just praying that he'll reveal that to us soon, and that just to give us patience in the meantime. For Chad to ask us to speak today was just really, really special. Because for a long time, I didn't like Mother's Day. I wanted to be a mother so bad, and it just wasn't happening, and it was just really a sad and hard day for me. So I want to tell a little story. I went to church one Sunday with my mom on Mother's Day, and they were handing out little magnets. And I wasn't a mom. I had had a miscarriage, so I knew I had a baby in heaven, but on outward appearances, I wasn't a mom. And so I didn't take a magnet. And I was sitting there quietly, trying not to cry and just having a hard time. And one of my mom's friends, Miss Wanda, grabbed a magnet and handed it to me. And that just meant so much to me. And it says, kindness. With loving kindness I have drawn thee, Jeremiah 31:3. And that's what was shown to me that day was kindness. So to all the women here today, if you haven't become a mom but you want to be, or for just whatever reason you're not a mom, or if you're a mom to a baby in heaven, or you are a mom, I just want to tell all of you that you're loved and you're cherished, and today's a special day for you too.